Girl, I've been watching, don't let me down again, oh baby.
The first day of advanced cognitive psychology, and the lecture hall was buzzing. It wasn't the usual first-day murmur of syllabi and schedule comparisons. This was a low, excited hum, primarily from the female-identifying portion of the student. YN, slipping into a seat beside her best friend Kim So-hyun, didn't need to ask why.
Have you seen him?
So-hyun whispered, her eyes wide.
The grad student forum is on. They said he was young, but they didn't say he looked like that.
YN followed her gaze to the front of the room. Leaning against the professor's desk was a man who seemed sculpted from marble and shadow. Park Jimin. His posture was relaxed, yet there was an unnerving stillness to him. Patience. He was dressed in an impeccably tailored black suit, no tie, the top button of his white shirt undone. His hair was a soft, dark sweep, and his eyes were scanning the room, dark, intense, and utterly devoid of the warmth one expected from an educator.
He looks intense.
YN murmured, pulling her notebook from her bag.
Intense? He looks like he could calculate the exact pressure needed to crush a windpipe, and then write a sonnet about it.
So-hyun giggled.
Genius aesthetic is strong with this one.
The room fell silent as Jimin pushed off the desk. He didn't speak immediately. Instead, he let the silence stretch, his gaze sweeping over them all, a king surveying his new domain. When he finally spoke, his voice was a low, melodic baritone that seemed to vibrate in the very bones of his listeners.
Welcome to Advanced Cognitive Psychology.
He began, not smiling.
Forget what you think you know. We aren't here to memorize textbooks. We're here to dissect the human machine, to understand why we think, why we feel, and why we break.
He began to pace slowly, his hands clasped behind his back.
We will delve into obsession, into compulsion, and into the darkest corners of the human psyche. It is not a place for the faint of heart.
His eyes landed on a student in the front row who was fidgeting. The student immediately stilled. Jimin's, quirked in a tiny, almost imperceptible smile. It wasn't comforting. YN found herself captivated, not by his looks, but by his words. They were precise and alluring. She was scribbling notes furiously when she felt a peculiar sensation, the distinct, unsettling feeling of being watched. She looked up. Professor Park Jimin had stopped his pacing. He was staring directly at her. Not at the row, not at the general area. At her. His dark eyes were locked on hers, unwavering. A shiver, cold and its way down her spine. It felt like being bored. She quickly dropped her gaze back to her notebook, her heart hammering against her. The lecture ended, and the spell broke. Students burst into chatter, gathering their things. YN hurried to pack her bag, desperate to escape the confines of the room and that lingering, intrusive gaze.
YN.
The voice, that same low, melodic baritone, was right behind her. She froze, her turning to ice. Slowly, she turned. Professor Jimin stood mere inches away, well inside the bounds of space. He smelled of sandalwood and something icy, like frozen winter air.
You took diligent notes?
He stated. It wasn't a question.
YN, isn't it?
Yes, Professor.
She stammered, clutching her notebook to her chest like a shield. He reached out, not for her, but for the notebook. His fingers, long and elegant, brushed against hers as he took it. The contact was electric, of something cold and alive. He flipped through the pages, his expression unreadable.
Precise, analytical. You have a compelling mind.
He said, his eyes lifting from the paper to hers. They seemed to see straight through her.
I look forward to seeing it unravel.
He handed the notebook back, his fingers lingering for a fraction of a second too long.
Don't be late to my next class.
He turned and walked away, leaving her rooted to the spot, breathless and profoundly unnerved. The obsession began subtly, then escalated with speed. He'd call on her in class, not with simple questions, but with complex, philosophical queries designed to her in a long, intense dialogue with only him.
Miss YN.
He'd purr, his voice filling the silent lecture hall.
In your opinion, can a love born from obsession ever be pure? Or is its very nature?
She'd stammer through an answer, feeling the weight of every student's gaze on her, a mix of curiosity and envy. He listened, his head tilted ever so slightly, a faint, approving smile playing at the corners of his. Strangely, that smile never quite reached his eyes. He began to appear outside her other classes, leaning against the wall as if he just happened to be passing by.
An interesting text on behavioral patterns?
He'd say, noting the book in her hand.
Though the author fundamentally misunderstands the drive behind fixation.
He'd then walk with her, discussing it, his presence a dark cloud that stifled the air around her. Notes began to appear in her campus mailbox. They weren't signed, but the handwriting, slanted and precise, was unmistakable.
I saw you in the library today. When you concentrate, it's a fascinating tale. Your laughter from the courtyard carried all the way to my office window. A singularly captivating sound.
She told So-hyun, who initially dismissed it as a crush.
YN, he's a young professor. You're a smart, pretty student. He's probably just intrigued.
She told her boyfriend, Solomon. His reaction was immediate and protective.
That's not intriguing, that's creepy.
He said, his handsome face set in a frown.
He's crossing a line. I should talk to him.
No.
YN said, a surge of panic. Her. She didn't know why, but the thought of Solomon confronting Jimin filled her with a primal dread.
Don't. It'll make it worse. I'll handle it.
But she couldn't handle it. It escalated beyond notes and chance meetings. She came home to her off-campus apartment to find a single white gardenia placed precisely in the center of her doormat. Her favorite flower. One she'd never told him about. A few days later, she was studying late in a secluded section of the library. She felt the air shift, grow cold. She looked up. Jimin was sitting at a table across from her, watching her. She hadn't heard him approach.
You look tired?
He said, his voice a soft caress in the quiet.
You push yourself too hard. For him?
YN's mouth went dry.
For me.
She managed to say. He smiled, a slow, dark curve of his.
Solomon doesn't appreciate the complexity of your mind. He enjoys the surface, the simplicity. He doesn't see the beautiful, intricate clockwork inside. I do. I see all of it.
He stood and walked away, leaving her trembling. The breaking point came on a rainy Tuesday. She was walking back from a movie with Solomon, huddled under his umbrella, his arm around her. He was talking, making her laugh, and for a moment, the constant, low-grade fear that had become her baseline eased. Then she saw him. Across the street, standing perfectly still under the awning of a closed shop, was Professor Jimin. He wasn't wearing a coat, despite the pouring rain. He was just standing there, watching them. The streetlight glinted off his eyes, 2 points of absolute darkness in the gloom. He didn't look away. He didn't move. He simply watched, a statue of obsidian intent. Solomon followed her gaze.
Is that?
He began, his voice tight with anger.
Just keep walking.
YN pleaded, pulling him along, her heart thundering. She didn't look back. Later that night, her phone buzzed with an unknown number. A message. A single image. It was a photo, taken from across the street, of her and Solomon under the umbrella. The message below read,
You with a carelessness I find offensive. Your smile belongs to a deeper understanding. It belongs to me.
YN. Up in bed, a scream lodged in her throat. She showed Solomon the next morning. His face paled, then hardened with resolve.
That's it. I'm reporting him. This is YN. This is...
He went to the department head. They were sympathetic but cautious. Professor Park was brilliant, from a wealthy, influential family, and had a pristine record. It was her word and a screenshot from an unlisted number against a rising star in the academic world. They promised to have a word, but YN saw the doubt in their eyes. Jimin knew, of course. He knew everything. He summoned her to his office that afternoon. The message was delivered via a senior department secretary, making it an official request she couldn't refuse. His office was a reflection of him, sleek, modern, and unnervingly sparse. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves held dense, leather-bound volumes. There were no personal photos, no diplomas on the wall. Just a large, minimalist desk. He was sitting behind it, steepling his fingers.
Close the door. YN.
He said softly. She did, her hand shaking on the knob.
Your boyfriend?
He began, the word dripping with distaste.
Seems to believe he can intercede in a matter he cannot possibly comprehend.
He's worried about me.
She said, her voice trembling.
As he should be.
Jimin replied, standing. He walked around the desk, leaning back against it, mere feet from her.
The world is full of... But he is looking in the wrong direction. I am not the to you, YN. I am the only one who recognizes this. I am the only one who can keep you safe.
From what?
She whispered. Of the answer.
From everything that is not me.
He said, as if it were the most logical statement in the world. He reached out and traced a line from her temple to her jaw. His was ice cold, yet her. She was frozen, paralyzed by fear and something else, something dark and thrilling she refused to name.
You fight this?
He murmured, his dark eyes consuming her.
This connection, this truth. Why? Because society tells you it's wrong? Society is a collection of fools navigating by the light of stars.
He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a whisper she felt in her soul.
I have mapped the architecture of your mind through your words, your expressions, the very energy you emit. We are not student and teacher. We are complementary patterns. We are a perfect closed system. Him.
He almost. The word.
He is static, noise, and I will remove any noise that interferes with my focus.
The to Solomon was clear and unequivocal. Panic. Her. She stumbled back, opened the office door, and fled. The next few days were a haze of fear. She switched her schedule. She avoided the psychology building. She stayed with Solomon or Sohyun at all times. She was constantly looking over her shoulder, but he was never visibly there. The absence was more then his presence. It felt like the calm before a storm. Then Solomon disappeared. He didn't answer his phone. He wasn't at his apartment. His friends hadn't seen him. Panic turned to outright. Wyan knew with a chilling certainty that Jimin had made his move. She went to the only place she knew he would be, his office. It was late, the building mostly empty. She didn't knock. She threw the door open. Jimin was sitting in his chair, reading a heavy, ancient-looking book. He looked up, not surprised in the slightest. A small, serene smile played on his.
Where is he?
She demanded, her voice cracking.
Who?
He asked, feigning innocence.
Solomon, what did you do to him?
He closed the book with a soft thud and stood.
I offered him a choice, a simple one, to walk away. He was unfortunately stubborn, heroic to the end, a truly tiresome trait.
Where is he?
She screamed, tears streaming down her face.
He's safe.
Jimin said, his voice calm as he rounded the desk.
For now, his continued safety is entirely conditional.
Conditional on what?
She sobbed.
On you?
He said, now standing directly before her. He cupped her face, his thumb wiping away a tear. His was possessive, final.
On you accepting what we are. On you ending this futile resistance. You belong with me. You have, from the moment you walked into my lecture hall, your mind called to mine. It's a frequency only I can hear.
He leaned his forehead against hers. She could feel the cold intensity radiating from him. This was no longer a professor. This was a force of nature, a black hole pulling her in.
Choose, Wyan.
He whispered, his breath cool against her.
Choose him and he will be returned to you, broken in ways no hospital can fix. Choose me and he walks away whole and healthy, and you ascend to your rightful place, by my side, forever.
It wasn't a choice. It was an ultimatum wrapped in a nightmare. She saw it all in his eyes, the absolute conviction, the love, the boundless darkness. He would do it. He would. Solomon, piece by piece, and feel nothing but satisfaction for removing an obstacle to his beloved. Her love for Solomon was warm, bright, and normal. What Jimin offered was a void, a possessive, all-consuming darkness. But it was a darkness that would spare the light she loved. A sob escaped her, a final surrender. She stood on her toes, her hands gripping the lapels of his suit, and her against. It was not of passion, but of despair. His were cool and still at first, then they moved against. With a shocking, it was that claimed. It was that, like tears and oblivion. He wrapped his arms around her, pulling her against him, and she felt the strength in him, the absolute control. When he finally pulled away, his dark eyes were, with a triumphant, possessive.
It's done.
He breathed, his voice thick with a dark ecstasy.
A new cognition, our story begins now.
He took her hand, his fingers intertwining with hers in a grip that was both gentle and unbreakable. He led her from the office, down the empty, echoing hallways, and out into the cold night. She didn't look back. She didn't ask about Solomon again. She knew he would be returned, as promised. Whole, healthy, and forever gone from her. Jimin opened the passenger door of his sleek, black car for her. As she slid inside, he leaned in, his brushing ear.
Every story needs a villain, my love.
He whispered.
But in our story, I am the hero, and I have finally saved you.
The door closed with a soft, final thud. He walked around to the driver's side, got in, and started the engine. The car purred to life, a beast awakening. Wyan stared out the window at the campus, her old life, receding into the darkness. She was his. Now, and forever. And in the silent depths of her soul, a truth stirred: she didn't want to be free.